Cora, what's a meridian?
Well, I don't know.
What's a channel?
A channel is something on the TV.
What else is it?
Something on the iPad.
Harry, what's a meridian?
I don't know.
What's a channel?
It's something that your blood runs through.
Oh yeah, good. What else is it?
On the TV and iPad and stuff.
Good. Welcome to episode 4 of What God Forgot to Tell Surgeons. And if you've heard the intro, you've probably already been introduced to the idea that the word meridians is not a very popular word in my household. So I asked my two kids what the word meridians meant to them, and this was completely unstaged. I was just trying to make a point that the word meridians isn't a very good word to use, and one of the reasons for that is it's because most people don't really understand what meridians use. And fair enough, my children are only 4 and 8, but they clearly understand what channels mean, whereas meridians is a word that isn't really well understood. Now, as far as I understand, meridians are things that hundreds of years ago were used to artificially describe boundaries within the earth, so latitude and longitude, and that causes a big problem with our understanding, because the channel system of the body is definitely real. It exists, and it's in no way artificial. It's not like humans have come along and described or placed these channels within the body. The peritoneal cavity or channel, the pleural channel, the fascial planes that move between muscles all clearly exist, and every anatomical dissection in existence has used these exact fascial planes to do their job. That's what surgeons do when they operate. They move down fascial planes. And I can't overemphasize this enough. Here you can see the peritoneal cavity, or peritoneal channel as it's better understood. You're actually within the channel. The camera is in the channel, and this is how you do keyhole surgery. It really revolutionises the understanding of the channel system. You don't have to look for anything complicated. You don't have to look any deeper than just simply opening any anatomical textbook, and the channels are already laid out as a negative space. So that's the Jing, the big channels, which are drawn as a thread, a fabric, which we've described as fascia, and it creates underground rivers of mystical energy. Which, as we've explained, is qi. But the luo are the small microscopic channels within the body, and these require a little bit of explaining as well. So the interesting thing about this character is it shares the same first radical as yin. It's a fascia, and then it combines it to suggest that this is woven into a net. This is incredibly similar to the word histology. Now, histology is something that Western science has used to describe the microscopic structure of tissues. So these are the cellular level of architecture within the body, can only be seen with a microscope. And the word histology is from the Greek to mean net. So the East has said this is a fascial net, or a collagenous net within our body, which makes these tiny channels, and the West has said, oh yeah, here is this net that organises the structure of our tissues, what they call histology. So they're in complete agreement once again. You've got to remember, East and West describing the same thing, so they've got to either be in agreement or one of them's got to be wrong. So what is this exactly? What is this luo net? Well, when we get down to the microscopic structure of tissues, we find that there are cells, but most importantly, there's the spaces between cells. Spaces is what allows things to function. Without space, things just will not work. Things can't grow, things can't move against each other. Can't even breathe without space in my chest for my lungs to expand downwards. My heart, every time it pulses, it needs space. And it's the same within the cells, within the microscopic architecture of our body, the neural network. It requires this space between. So this space is formed by the collagenous network that organizes and also supports the cells. And you can see this very clearly in any histological picture. The architecture there, again, science, medical science is more interested in the things, but between the things is the space. So in Western medical science, there is this distinction between anatomy and histology. It's decided that these two are sufficiently different or interesting in their own way that they're going to say, well, this is anatomy, the macroscopic structure, and this is histology, the microscopic structure, and we're going to describe them individually. And so it is with Chinese medicine, that the Zhuang, the large channels, are sufficiently different in their function to the Luo, the microscopic channels, that they again differentiate. But we have to remember it's part of a whole. And this whole can be illustrated in such a way. So here the cells are drawn as individual spheres, and then the qi flows through this channel network, gradually forming larger and larger channels until eventually it flows into the Jing network. Now, the interesting thing about this drawing is it's drawn in exactly the same way as the character Mai. And Mai I translate as network, but the Mai is drawn as tributaries of a river. So I hope that's given a little bit of a grasp of the difference between those two. I do explain more in the book about why they're important. And then we'll just move on to the basic understanding of these 6 main planes within our body that form the 6 channels. So if you've studied acupuncture, you probably think, hang on a second, there are 12 channels. Well, not really, no. There are 6 channels, and those 6 channels move into the arms and move into the legs, and then that makes 6 plus 6, 12. But there are just 6 planes going through our body, yeah? And the planes kind of move like the jam within a Swiss roll. They kind of get squeezed out into the arms. And that becomes, for instance, then the lung channel when it gets squeezed out this way, and in the legs it becomes the spleen channel. And those two then join through the diaphragm. So you've just got 6 planes. Now, again, if we look at CT scans done by Western medical science, they're preoccupied with things within the CT scans. But what we're most interested in is the space between things. So that really has to be made clear. It has to be clarified, because everything is squeezed down. Nature abhors a vacuum, and the same is in the body. But this space exists, and when it disappears, you get disease. So here is the CT scan. All of the objects have been labelled, but if we remove the importance of the things and instead illustrate the importance of the space, we see a different picture. And these become the 6 channels. Now they're still a little bit complex, but they're going to get simpler as we start to understand what's going on. So I hope that's given a very brief introduction to the nature of the Jing and the Luo. If you want to read more about this, please do buy my book. It's available now on Amazon, available at my website, drdankeown.com. And all proceeds go to my future surfing education. So it's a very noble aim. It also goes towards my child's Lego collection. Harry, do you want more Lego?
Yeah.
Cora, what do you want more of?
Yeah, Lego.
Lego, okay. Lego?
Yeah. Girls do have Lego.
Yeah, but you don't play with Lego.
I do. Once Uncle James got me Lego and I built.
Alright, well Cora needs more Lego too. Alright, see you for episode 5. Bye.